the committee and the architect, et cetera. Just a reminder that this meeting is being filmed, recorded for the purpose of putting it on Raleigh Community Television at a later time. We're not on live right now. With that, keeping that in mind, what I want to do is kind of move through fairly quickly, because everybody's got things that need to be done. And at this point, we're really, what we need to do is look at the site plan. So, Greg, if you want to explain what we have here.
This is the site plan overlaid on an aerial photograph. Here is we have two retention basins. Main one.
In other words, just to interrupt, in other words, the last plan that we had at the last meeting was all the retention basin was behind the big, between the, what will be the fire station and the big ball field, so it was all in that area. And due to that fact that we're gonna be draining a lot of water off either to the right or to the left of the big ball field, I asked, did a little investigation, we talked about having where this ball field is here become the retention basin. Well, I talked to Tim Southall, who's in charge of the rec committee from the perspective of what we're doing here, and he wasn't at all happy, because that particular ball field is a critical one. It's the oversized 11, 12-year-old field, the only one we have at that size, because even the main Little League field is a small one. I thought that was a bigger field, so he asked if we could make some changes, and I talked about with him, if we move this over to the left in this field, what they play here, they play T-ball in this area, so they're gonna lose the T-ball field, but like Tim said, they can do that on the common if they have to for a year. Ultimately, when we get the Gwyn land downtown, a lot of these will expand the fields down there, but at least this will give them the three big fields. So we did go out Thursday. I was there. Brent from Conservation, Highway Department worked with us, and Doug. I stayed for one test pit. They did 2 test pits over in this area here, and they went down 10, 12 feet. Just pure sand, similar to what we had when we did the septic test. And they were gonna dig a couple over in the area, that large boulder out there, which Neil said he didn't stay for, but not hearing anything negative at this point. They must have gone all right and designed the.
And we have the email from Neil
Yeah.
Joyce.
So, yeah, from Neil Joyce, so, that's looking good. So what he did was basically, this is just an updated stormwater management plan. And what we need to do today is take a look at it. If we got any concerns, bring them up, because at this point, if we're okay with that, then Greg can go ahead and it'll be put together the final design plan, so we can move forward. So from my perspective, it looks good. I'm sure that the rec committee would prefer not to have it over here, but it's great sand, it's great percolation. It's a great spot for a stormwater management area, because it's all pure sand down as deep as they could dig, and it shouldn't be a problem. There's still going to be some here, and my only question is in other words, before we had a pipe going down this way and this way. Now we just got this one. And my only comment, if you talk to Bill. I'm concerned, what I would really like to do is, this road he designed the roadway to go from this parking lot to the other one at 24 feet, which to me is way too big. The street in front of my house is about 18 feet. So for a parking lot road, I don't see why we need to have a 24-foot wide.
No, but that's the standard road when they do it. That's just what they do.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd like to get it down lower, just because it is, it's gonna be gravel.
Yep.
It only gets used occasionally, and the only thing we're worried about is getting a fire engine down there.
Right.
There's no other big trucks or anything like that going down there, and
If it's as wide as you say, the 24 feet, there's gonna be a possibility of people parking on it.
well, they're gonna have to make sure that they leave
Right.
and if as long as you can get a truck down there, it's not like there's gonna be cars coming the other way. I mean, if there's an emergency over there, then somebody's gonna stop the traffic, and the truck's gonna be allowed to come in, so.
I'll talk with Bill about making it narrower. I mean, face it, it's just a graded area with gravel anyhow, so.
Right.
Yeah, it's not
If they have to
defined.
pull off on the shoulder to get by
Well,
something,
what
it's not a big deal.
In other words, my concern is that we need to we need every parking space down there that we can find, because it's, right now, there's not enough parking to cover what the fields need. The other thing I'd like to do is, if you can check with him, Greg, is if we can put this, instead of having the road back here, would we be able, if we, prior to the project starting, or during beginning, if we, this is where the boulder is, it's surrounded by gravel, if we can take all this, cut this all down, can we put the road coming through here rather than going down and around? Because then we could put parking over into this area, which would be more beneficial than, right now we're losing all this parking in here. I don't know.
I can say that absolutely, yeah, if we can cut through the rock, yeah, we can certainly move the road, there's no,
See, I don't know what the depth is. I know we got the trees, if you look at it, there's a big boulder,
yeah.
and then it just, immediately you got gravel all around it. So, so far anyway, they haven't hit a lot of, boulder seems to go deep rather than be shallow. So, if we can do it, I mean, it's something that, it kind of depends on if Neil can just take a look at where they drilled out those test holes, and if he thinks we can do that.
Is it,
I prefer
is
to
it
do
a
that.
boulder, or is it ledge?
Well, it's ledge.
Yeah,
It's
ledge,
not crummy.
it's very unlikely that you're gonna get something that's gonna come up like that. It's at some point, it's gonna peter out.
Yeah, well, it's
So-
strange, because we thought we'd run into problems here, but
Yeah.
we really didn't, and when the ledge here, and it slopes down pretty quick, I assume that's the lines there, so it's kind of surprising, actually, that it sticks up about 12, 15 feet or whatever, and that,
Let me ask the chief something. I'm just throwing out
Yep.
stuff. If you left this 24 feet, would you have any problem with them parking along the road?
As long as the road's wide.
No, that's what I'm saying.
It's wide enough to get
Yeah.
through. My concern is that they'll park on both sides of the
Right.
street and then choke it up. Because some people are gonna, I don't wanna pull out a little bit more.
Right. Well, we've normally, in general design, use 24 feet, so that in the case where there is a car on both sides, you can still get the truck through. But like you were saying, if we get them to park up a little bit.
no, we'll restrict parking. In other words, if it has to be 24 feet, I think we'll try to allow parking on one side.
Yeah.
And in fact, it may be a matter of you can have parking facing,
Right.
90 degrees from the road.
I think it's gonna be cheaper than trying to deal with this here.
Yeah, my other question is now, what are these two things here? Is there a way we can put an access for a fire truck and or a police car or ambulance that could go in from here? Just
Oh, yeah,
to make this road thinner, narrower, or have it come through here and then make sure we just have an alternate access point with a gate.
Well, we do have an access point here, and we will have, yeah, I don't think that's an issue. The
I mean,
grade is
that way,
fine.
chief, you could be sure that no matter what, you're not gonna be, which would probably be better anyway, if you got an emergency down there, if you could bring the emergency ambulance or
Right in
Yeah.
there.
whatever in and have them go through the back of the police station.
Yeah,
That-
kinda like
which is-
what's
Which
there
is a
now.
gate there now.
Right.
Would
That
be
would-
better, and this will just look at doing parking and the
Parallel
and the
parking, yeah.
access for,
I
where
think
it's
it's gonna be a
parallel.
lot cheaper than trying to deal with this.
Okay.
Well, doing this, you still have to get over here.
Right, yeah,
So-
there's gotta be a road coming across. I'm just saying that if we could do a narrower road and go straight across here, if we could do an emergency access for emergency vehicles over here, or, continue the one that we have, maybe we can reduce this road size, number one, and number two, it might be cheaper than, because this drops way down. In fact, he was talking about having to put 8 feet of fill or something in here to put the road over here, because
I know
this
that-
is a hole.
Yeah, it's not quite as high as it was, but you can still, this is an embankment. but
Right.
This is gonna be a place where people are gonna sit and watch the baseball games too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a matter of, if he can take a look, I mean, that's not gonna affect the design process, it's just something that if we can take a look at that. And I believe we can, cause these trees here, I know, and I'm pretty sure we could go by there, but we could check that out. Cause I can get a local contractor to go down to at least take a look at it. And I've held off at this point just because it was important to get this whole
Okay.
the trench over there, so if you can check on that from my
I'll run that through Bill.
from my perspective. Other than that, the whole thing looks good to me. What do you feel, Joe, or Chiefs, Debbie?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I mean,
Makes sense.
everything doesn't seem to have changed any since the last.
Well, the buildings themselves are right, exactly, all the buildings, it's all about the plot plan is what we've been.
Yeah.
Yeah, the access needs to be working out good, especially
Yeah.
able to put that in there is gonna cut all the costs down and still be able to address the parking issues, which you're concerned with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, Tim says, and I was looking at 150, there's 114 spaces there now. And I figured if we did some work around that boulder, we could take up another 25 or 30 for 150, but Tim says sometimes there's 5 games going on. And I figured three fields going at once is one thing. 5 fields is, and the big ball field attracts quite a sizable audience in addition to. So anything we can do to increase the amount of parking would really be beneficial. But I don't want it to hold up the project either. And the other thing is cost. What is, what are the costs? Obviously, we're looking to keep those outside ground costs as small as possible so they don't interfere with the, so is everybody happy with that?
I'm happy.
I'll take a motion to accept the plan as drawn with our possible amendments.
I'll second. I'll make the motion.
Second.
Need further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, looking good. Good to go then. So the other thing is, we've gone through the communication, we're gonna put that on hold. Architectural plans, HVAC, we decided before. Site work was the big one for today. Permitting, I assume he's been working.
He has, I have instructions to stop by the assessor's office and pick up the butters list.
Okay.
So we can notify that, so
Good.
bring that home with me.
Very good.
Is that to get these meetings that Neil's looking for, to get hopefully the planning board?
Planning board and the ZBA, basically. I don't see any big problems with those, but just something.
What
we
about
gotta go through.
conservation?
Conservation, the agent was out with us digging the holes. He's mainly stormwater at this
That's
point.
fine.
So they have to have a declaration from, I mean, that's gonna have to go before them also, for the stormwater, approval of the stormwater plan, so, yeah, add that to the list. All right, so the bid documents, et cetera, that's looking,
We're,
you gonna be ready?
yep, we're cranking. Right now that we've got the site finished, it's really just that, and we're just doing sort of final coordination and wrapping stuff up. We did request another estimate
Right.
from Pete Timothy, and he needs, now we can send him this so that
Okay.
he can flesh that out further, so we should have that in about 2 weeks.
All right. So the project timeline right at this point is pretty much no change from what we talked about before.
Not really, we're looking for an August bid, or an August, beyond the street in August.
Okay.
Would
and-
that be subject to getting these other, on these other
Get the
boards?
permits.
Well, yes and no. Every time I do this, Bill cringes and he hates it when I do this. Some of these boards can take a while, depending upon, because they have, the 30-day period that they can
Yeah.
look at it, and then you've got the appeal period and what have you. So it can, if you hold up the bid, or if you elect not to bid it until you have all those permits in hand, it can really impact the schedule tremendously. If Bill gets the design together and can at least informally speak with all these boards and see where we are, the variance maybe not, but the other stuff certainly, that everybody's on board, conservation knows what's happening, it's a matter of basically reviewing and approving what they know is coming, we can move forward with bidding, and then we can either, if there are changes that any of the boards want to make, we can do it by addendum during the bidding process, because we're going to be doing this, we're going to be bidding it for a month. And in the event that something gets delayed and we have to make a minor change, and at that point, it's going to be minor changes, because everybody is pretty much on board anyhow. So if, they want, to adjust a grade or move a fence or something like that, we can do that by change order anyway, without incurring a lot of cost.
The other thing here is in the appeal process is the closest residence is Circuit Drive, which is still quite a ways away. There's no residences on the, around the police station currently, other than if you get up to Circuit Drive. There's a couple of houses, not even across the street really, they're down, there's nothing close by, so it isn't like you're in a neighborhood where you got all the neighbors yelling and screaming, so.
You just gotta realize there's a risk if we, any one of those boards, you know, has
Right.
a change, I mean, we've got a contract in hand. Not only we gonna be looking at cautions, but if we could be definitely looking at delay and extending
Well,
the schedule, so.
That's why I say that before you do anything,
Yeah.
Bill has to make sure that everybody's fluent in what we're doing.
Right.
And that, aside from like a really detailed evaluation, which they will do, you know, conceptually, they know, you know, yes, we're gonna put the detention basin over there, may need to be a couple feet deeper, but it's gonna be there and that's not a problem, you know.
Brent is, who was out there, he's our stormwater management person,
Mhm.
so if he's on board, I don't anticipate a problem with him. In other
Oh, I'm
words,
not
if-
trying to discourage.
No, I
you
understand
know.
what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that if we got him on board, so I'm assuming, and I got nothing but positive feedback from him when we were
Okay.
out there, I would think that would be, because we're not dealing with any wetland infringements or any of those, which is usually what causes those.
Mhm.
The ZBA is primarily the 50-foot setback.
Right.
Which, I don't see that, but we're already less than 50 feet with the police station, so all we're doing is adding, and then that you're in the well field,
Right.
whatever that area is with the water, so I mean, with the building already out there, and for instance, the medical building across the street, which is right, that's within the zone two, almost in the zone one area, they okayed all of that, so, you know, I'm not seeing a major problem, so it's a matter of do we wanna take a chance or not, and I think time is, I mean, if one of the boards hold us up, it's not gonna be for construction purposes, it's just gonna be primarily, I'm not sure what, but, I mean, obviously, we can't say for sure, we can't speak for any of those boards,
Well,
but the issues that we're going before them for are really nothing major in terms of, is the planning board gonna tell us?
Well,
But you can't get a permit if you don't have an order of conditions.
right,
When in August are you talking about, Greg? I guess that's important to me when I think
Yeah,
about this,
yeah.
because I kind of agree with what Paul is saying here. This is such a huge project,
oh, yeah.
and, you know, we don't have a finalized site plan that Brent's looking at or anything. Informally, I just looked at the test pits.
well, let me put it this way.
You know, and August is just about a week away.
I know. We intend to be ready to be, given the site plan situation, it's our intention right now to be ready to go out to bid in the middle of August. So, because Bill has to finish these drawings.
And what about the cost estimate that we're looking at?
We should have that at the next, hopefully our next
And then
meeting.
Neil also mentioned we would do a page turn at a meeting of everything.
Yeah,
When
with
will
his
that
engineers.
happen
Well,
then?
we did
What we
that.
do with his engineers in the
But
office.
the whole,
We had that,
Okay.
we
You
actually,
did that.
we were gonna do, well, we kinda did that
Okay.
last meeting. I had all the drawings there, we dropped
Okay.
them off. We can, actually, if you want, I can sit down with the chiefs and we can go through them again in the meantime. You know,
Well,
if you
I
guys
think
wanna-
we're more concerned about having the MEP engineers all at a table at one time so that we can just make sure we don't have any coordination errors.
Okay, I can set that up.
I mean, if we have to delay, we have to delay bidding for a couple of weeks, I mean,
Yeah, if it's a
we gotta do, in other words, everything is falling into place. If we feel more comfortable by delaying it a couple of weeks, that's not gonna be a major problem, I don't think.
Would you like to have this meeting next week with the engineers here so that you could do that? We might wanna find a bigger table.
But I'm not sure we need to burden them. I mean, it's pretty easy for us to just go over your office and your guys are over that way anyway, so.
Well,
Who you using, GGD?
it's Crossville. Which are, and they're literally around the
Oh,
corner.
okay.
They're in Georgetown, so,
Okay.
but I mean, we can, if you wanna go through a page turn, you know. happy
well,
to-
or maybe if we get a draft of what you're talking about that's gonna be released in the middle of August, so that committee members can at least look at that.
The set of drawings that dropped off at the
Mhm.
last meeting
So
are
that
pretty
is-
close to, right
And
now
then
it's
the
just being.
updated bid documents that have all the incorporated changes, if I could get a,
Well,
Yep.
Bill's waiting for
Copy
me on
that.
something on that too.
Why don't we say this, is it a situation where we can meet next week?
I won't be here, but you
You
can
won't be
certainly
here.
meet.
I don't see why not.
I won't be.
Well, I'd like to have Bill's stuff in before then.
Or,
Oh,
let's say,
we-
let's say 2 weeks, are you available in 2 weeks, Debbie?
Yeah, I think more importantly is we wanna make sure we get the stormwater application, I think, into the Concom. They meet every 3 weeks, so, to me, Dave, that's really what I'm concerned about.
Okay, no,
That's a
that's
big
fine.
permit,
Okay.
and they may need a couple of meetings to go over that, I don't know. And we're just looking at
Right.
that.
Well, we have the drawings.
So
This
let's
is
get the application done, I guess, is the concern, I think, that I have. Just at least get that in there and see what happens.
No, that's fine, I mean, like I say, if it gets held up a couple of weeks, or 2 or 3 weeks, I mean, it is what it is, that's what we gotta deal with.
All right.
My other big concern, as we brought it up last meeting, is the facade
Mhm.
issue.
Mhm.
And, we just kind of put it on the table,
We made a change.
and what's any idea what the cost of that change is?
I don't, that's being estimated now, but I don't think it's significant. We're not adding that much block.
Okay, and you're putting, what, a half,
Yeah, we're coming up,
half a matching wall?
basically, we're matching the existing building, and we're bringing it up to the sill height of the windows around the front.
And then the top half will be the,
Top half will be clapboard. It's just a
Just the tactical ones together.
couple hundred square feet of masonry skin.
as long as we're not running into, once again, major cost issues.
Well,
I mean, there'll be some, that's understandable.
the good news, well, it's actually a wash, because we were cladding that entire building with new siding, and now we're just leaving it alone.
Right, yeah.
So
Okay,
whatever we're spending on a little decorating the new building is probably, it's at least a wash and maybe a little bit to the good,
Okay.
so.
One other thing,
It's a better looking building too, actually.
Yeah, no, I think it should look good.
the retention pond you're putting over here, where's the elevation if it's over here? We're gonna have a problem, we need to fence that.
There may be. Overall, it's gonna be about 10 feet deep, but it doesn't drop 10 feet. It's 5 feet of plateau and another 5 feet.
Yeah.
So it's,
But
it's a
still,
slope.
concerned with you got young kids out there,
Well, I think what I'd like to do, if we can, is, we talked about putting a split rail fence. But my major concern, we got 2 concerns really. Is number one, you're gonna get some balls that are gonna get hit into that area, so you need access to it. And the other issue is we wanna fence it enough so that the kids then running across the field and all of a sudden there's a dip. If we put whether it's a split rail or something along that line, I'm not sure what it should be, but like I said, we don't wanna make it look like a prison farm, but it's something just to make sure that,
I think a split rail would be preferable to chain link,
yeah,
you know.
no, I agree.
I mean, you're not really, you need a barricade just so you know not to step off the cliff.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at, is if a kid's chasing, some kid hits a home, like especially those other 2 fields. If it's over the fence, it's one thing, but if it's a long ball from one of those other fields and the kid's running out there as fast as they can, and they're
Backwards.
not paying attention to,
Yeah.
the ground's gonna dip down,
but you shouldn't, we ought to find out how long the water is gonna retain in that area. What I don't wanna do is have a kid ultimately, a smaller kid, get in there and drown.
It's pure sand.
Yeah,
Okay,
It's-
that's probably.
He went down 10, when I was there watching it, it was down 10 feet, and we weren't hitting anything. But
Okay.
the only reason why we didn't go deeper was because the digger couldn't go any deeper.
Yeah,
But
okay.
And we've done perk tests.
Yeah, okay.
That were almost, almost too fast.
Okay,
The water,
Yep.
things were percolating so quickly
Good.
through the sand that it was actually raising some concerns.
I was just raising the question, cause I like to always cover all the
Yeah,
bases.
no, you're right,
You know
no,
what I'm saying?
absolutely. Yeah, there shouldn't be any standing water in there, in other words.
Mhm.
And in fact, looking across the street at the one that's closest by the new medical building, at the most, that gets an inch or two, that's a fairly deep pond there, and it gets an inch or two of water, and it's
Mhm.
gone within the
Good.
day.
Perfect.
That's not even flooding up from, and we've had some heavy rain this, periods, obviously not a 50-year flood
Mhm.
zone, but,
It's raining like that, they're not playing baseball anyway, so.
No.
Well, it's
No,
after-
no,
it's
I-
afterwards
I'm more
anyway.
worried about afterwards than not, you
Oh,
know,
I-
the parents
Yeah,
aren't
I
watching
know.
their kids and.
If I remember right, when they did the market basket up there, they built a detention pond for the parking lot up there that was supposed to drain, and it's become a pond unto itself, so, I mean, the water was never drained out, it was probably 4 or 5 feet deep in there.
So now they have wetlands issues, right?
Yeah, so it's never gone away, so, you know, we definitely wanna make sure that it's, the water goes. So for me, it's more a matter of just making sure that the kid doesn't run across that field and not know that there's and yet you need access because I guarantee they're gonna hit some balls in there, so you gotta have at least an opening, even if they put a chain link fence, we gotta have a gate that we can, you know, get in and get the ball back. All right.
So kind of the biggest thing is the cost estimate revised with the site plan work.
Right,
So we have a new site plan, and that's a big component of the budget. And
correct.
figuring out where the budget stands, and then deciding if there's gonna be some alternates on the, that are gonna be
Right.
part of this, that need to be in those bid documents that we're talking about releasing in, what would technically be 3 weeks.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm sitting here saying, 'cause
Well,
I know there was a number of things that the committee looked at that wasn't part of the original plan, but.
Well, I think we can probably plan, I'd rather plan on holding the bid off an extra couple of weeks to make sure that we're all on the same page. I don't think that'll make a big difference in terms of, you know, cost to construct the project. I just wanna make, I agree with Debbie 100% that rather than rushing in and discovering that we got a problem, I'd rather slow the process. We're really moved along quite well to this point, and and correct me if I'm wrong, Debbie, from your perspective, if we meet in 2 weeks, we should have everything ready for us to give a final okay. Final estimate should be in, the new cost estimate should be in. We'll have the final site plan drawings. You can give us an update on exactly, you know, we want an update exactly when the meetings are gonna be scheduled for the permitting.
Right.
For the 3 committees that need to do it, so they need to jump right on that. And, you know, if need be, we can maybe request one of those committees to have a special meeting just to get this going, so we don't, I mean, it's in the interest of all the town boards to get this thing going, so if we have to have and like I said, I don't think there's major issues, it's more or less, probably, the stormwater's become a big problem for us. And that's probably, and yet this is, the stormwater we're doing here is pretty cut and dried. Like I say, Brent's been involved in it, so he's not getting hit with any surprise. In fact, it might be worthwhile to send him
Can get that.
a copy of that, because those pits aren't gonna change. We may be looking to change the path, the road path, but if we can get Brent, email him, or I'll give him one of these drawings, it may probably even be better, it's better size to read. But he may wanna look at, how many copies of this did you bring?
I brought 3 of everything.
Can we maybe drop, is somebody going over to, are you going over to the?
I'm sure he'll be by later, I can.
All right, if he can get one of these, this would even be better.
Okay, they're actually true drawings, they splice together, so there's 6,
Okay,
Oh,
but that'll give him,
actually 9. Yeah, 6 pages.
if we can get those to
Okay.
him,
Yeah,
he's the one I'm more
I'll
worried
get
about.
it.
ZBA, I don't see being a
Yeah,
big
right.
problem, that's his technical.
I can give it to him. I gotta go talk to him anyways.
Are there, have we planned any meetings with the building inspector, or is he okay?
I've talked to the building inspector, and doesn't really, we can invite him, no, depending on what time the meeting is, he only works till noon time, but I've talked to the building inspector, and he basically, he's gonna defer to whatever, because we got the
Yep.
building, electrical, plumbing,
Yep.
they all work part-time,
Okay,
so I'll check with him again, in case he wants to be a part of our next meeting, but I think he's pretty much, we're paying this kind of money for an architect, he's assuming.
yep, they're gonna do their
It's
job.
gonna do it
Absolutely.
right.
No, that's okay.
And he'll just, you know, do his business, he'll look at the plans and everything initially, and then I don't think he's gonna.
You can imagine, we go into some towns and the building inspector thinks he's God, you know, so.
Well, ours does too, but.
Oh, okay.
No, he's a good guy. No, our building inspector's a good guy, and
Yeah.
He's very knowledgeable, but he's
And-
good.
yeah, I talk to him 2-3 times a week, I saw him
What
on
I-
different things.
The chief is gonna meet with Brent, so if you give him a drawing board.
Yeah, that'll be good, just so, and if he has any questions, Chief, tell him to
Grab
call.
this up and I can-
Yeah, give him one of those.
Is there any questions out there?
If he's got any concerns, tell him to call Debbie. And then, who's gonna make the appointments? Who's gonna actually do the permitting?
Bill Murray.
He'll make the appointments and do the request.
When after the meeting, I'll call him and I'll have him I'll have him email directly what the schedule is for
Okay.
what his anticipated schedule is, getting him, setting it all up. Numbers, if I'm not mistaken, a bunch of it's already been set up. He's already done some of it, so, but I'm afraid I don't.
Right,
know
right.
what he's done, so.
Can I get one copy of this? You don't need that sheet, 'cause I'm gonna talk to the recreation, Tim Southall from the rec committee. This will show him what we're doing. And, that should make a difference there, so. All right, so if we set up a meeting for
2 weeks maybe?
2 weeks, and
Well, are you gonna cover the, we got.
what else you got?
Well, there's general conditions, which I'll look at within the next
Okay.
couple of days, and then there's an issue of proprietary items. Has that been discussed about that?
We've kinda discussed it, but it was really.
No vote on anything.
Oh, okay, do we know what they are? So if they are, I'll prepare the documents.
There are none.
Oh, there are none, okay, that's good.
So once you get the bid documents in, we'll vote on that, so there's no, I think you mentioned before, there's nothing at this point, if we're doing
Good.
communication stuff, there'd probably be some proprietary.
This is kind of recurring, agenda.
Oh,
So we
okay.
have like.
Yeah.
Sorry about
We've
that.
done a
Oh,
lot
that's
of
fine,
these
no.
things, you know.
No, we don't wanna miss anything, if
No, no.
anybody's got any questions, just.
No, because you know what's gonna,
Just bring
I
'em up.
just wondered if Neil told me and I forgot.
Yeah,
Because usually he gives me the list and I do all the documents up. So I just wanna make sure I didn't screw up.
no,
I'm good at that, you know?
no, it's hard to step in and come to one meeting. The trailers, Chief, you said you had a bid.
The movers, they came, and I got an estimate from
Okay.
the movers. Which I forgot to put it in my folder, so it was around $3,500.
So then we're all set when we know the actual
Mhm.
dates. The chief will make the,
We'll have to make a disconnect there too, right?
He's working on it.
yeah, he's got all that, disconnect the electrical, the carpentry, and then have the guys come in and move out those trailers. He's gonna move all his stuff down to, you're gonna go down the annex, right?
Annex, yeah.
Got a mover coming in and do that, and we thank the chief once again for putting up for a year and a half or whatever with stringent limitations on the station itself, so. All right, well, let's, before we set up this meeting date, we got minutes here. Does anybody have a problem with the minutes for May 8th, 22nd, or June 5th? You can catch up on those, that'd be good. I had no issue with it.
I have no interest.
Somebody wanna make a motion for May 8th?
I move to approve May 8th.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
May 22nd?
make a motion, accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
June 5th?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, very good. So we'll set up a meeting date then, and say 2 weeks if that's possible.
That looks like that's gonna be August 7th, is that right?
Seven.
What time?
9?
I don't know.
10?
9?
9, 10, either one.
Whatever works.
Is Monday, is that a meeting, we're having a selectmen's meeting that day?
Yeah.
Does that bother you, or?
No, I mean, Monday's
We
a
got no
crazy.
negotiations next week, or that? on the
So
7th,
far,
right?
no. So
Don't schedule any.
it's easier in the morning so we can
Right,
get
right.
everything ready.
Okay, so we'll say August 7th at 9 AM, 9:30, was that better for people
It might be ready for you guys. 9:30?
traveling?
Doesn't matter, whatever you want.
Sure.
Whatever's good.
Speak now.
I'm used to it, honestly, you know, it's, alarm goes off at 5 o'clock, that's.
All right, so for that meeting then, August 7th at 9 AM.
Yeah, you get me again.
Oh, good.
Neil's out.
And that one is basically, we're gonna expect to see all the final,
We want to look at the project budget.
the
In
project
terms
budget,
of
obviously,
what the new-
the final drawings.
It's important.
That we know what the bid documents are gonna be ready, so that we're in a position, whatever we need to vote on.
And we have some plan of actually knowing that Bill or whoever's gonna be representing the town at these various board and committee meetings is actually
Right.
being put on the agenda, and there's applications are being filed because of the ZBA, you know, with the time frame that they need to get it in, and advertising, the newspaper and everything.
And when Bill gets the dates, let Debbie know, because either myself or Joe, probably me, but one of us will attend those meetings. All three of those boards for, you know, from our perspective, and along with whoever Bill sends or whatever we need for that. Yeah, the big problem with those things is time frames and all that kind of stuff for schedules, advertising, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
You get bogged down real quick in terms of those kinds of things. All right, anybody have anything else?
Would be great.
Do you hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much for